Welcome to Cooking with Nick, the cooking class that will show you how to prepare a quick and healthy four-course dinner in a short amount of time. There's nothing more important than eating dinner with your family as often as possible. With a little preparation and some quick tips from me, you will always have time to make dinner for your family. So if we're all ready to cook, let's get started on our meal for today. Okay, we're going to get started. We're going to have a four-course meal tonight, and the whole basic premise of what I teach is that you can prepare this whole meal in about 40 minutes, okay, from beginning to end. So that's what we're going to do. The reason it's scheduled for an hour and a half is because you have to eat everything I make. So you'll get a four-course meal tonight. So I hope you didn't eat dinner. So, okay, good. What we have on the menu for tonight is the entree is 4-cheese chicken fettuccine. And this fettuccine is going to be made a little bit differently than you would normally think of fettuccine, just cream, Parmesan cheese, a little salt and pepper. We're going to add different kinds of cheeses to it. This is a great dish to make if you want to go to a buffet, okay, or if you're having a buffet party at your house, because this will have a nice thick creamy sauce on it, and if you put it on in a chafing dish, it'll stand up really well without drying out and getting all gummy and whatever. So I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to also make it without the chicken, and you can make it totally vegetarian. Okay, so different ways you could make this. When I do the recipes, they're all tried and true. Okay, so I went through. I usually don't cook with a recipe. Okay, so when I started doing these classes, I had to sit down in my kitchen and go through everything and actually write everything down. So these all work. Okay, even though when you see me up here, I'm throwing stuff all over the place, but it does work, trust me, okay? So we're going to have mini vegetable wraps, which are very easy to make. You can use that as an appetizer. If you make them really hearty, you could use them as a, a sandwich or a light lunch. So you can use it as that. We're also going to have a spinach and apple salad. And then we're going to do the 4-cheese chicken fettuccine. And then we're going to do peanut butter sundae cups for dessert, which has like a peanut butter sauce, hot, chocolate chips, peanuts, cherry cream, has everything in it. Okay? I'm not a baker. I don't like to bake. So whenever I do desserts and whenever I have desserts, there are things that you can make in 10 minutes. Okay? So they involve ice cream, pound cake, a little of this, a little of that, but nothing that you have to slave over 4 hours. Okay? Because I don't have patience to measure stuff. I like to cook, but I don't like to bake because you have to measure everything. I mean, they always say cooking, is creative, baking is a science. You have to measure. That's not for me. So I usually just throw the baking powder in, and it goes over the stove and whatever. Hi there, how are you? So just getting started, so you're all set. What we're going to start out with is the 4-cheese chicken fettuccine. We're going to start with that because that's going to have to go in the oven for about 20 minutes and then get a nice little crust on it under the broiler. Okay, I'm going to show you some shortcuts to how to do that. Okay, I'm going to use a disposable pan, which I usually don't use, but I'm going to use a disposable pan because at the end of the night we just throw it away. So it looks like this has a lot of ingredients, but it's very simple to make. Okay, I'm going to get this pot going up here, and I have in here a little bit of butter, probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons of butter. And I'm also going to add a little bit of olive oil to this, just because I like the flavor, the combination of it. So I'm just going to drizzle a little of that in there. Get that heated up. I'm going to saute some some mushrooms. Okay, so and a quick note about the mushrooms. I always buy the mushrooms already sliced if you're going to use them because they're the same price if you buy them sliced or if you buy them whole. So why bother sitting there chopping them? So what you want to do when you put the mushrooms in the pan, just put the mushrooms in. Do not add any salt, pepper, or anything to that, because what will happen is the mushrooms will steam and not brown. Okay? You'll never get color on the mushrooms if you add salt because it draws the moisture out and they'll steam in the pot rather than turning brown. Okay? So just remember that. So as soon as this comes up, I'm going to add those in there. And another tip for you, I have some fettuccine here. And if you're going to use pasta during the week, okay, you can pre-cook that pasta. It's par cooking it. Actually cook it for about 3 or 4 minutes less than it says on the package. So this would be like 11 minutes. So cook it for about 7 or 8 minutes. And put it in a baggie like this with a little bit of olive oil in it. And just leave it in your refrigerator. It will stay there for 4 or 5 days. Okay, so then when you want to use it, just go back. If you're going to use it in a casserole, you don't have to do anything else. But if you make spaghetti or, when you want to have spaghetti and meatballs, for instance, just put it in your boiling water for the other 3 minutes and finish cooking it. Okay, so it saves you a lot of time. So this we're going to use in a casserole. So basically what we're going to do is put it in the pan. Okay, now you can see it comes apart. It'll come apart very easily. Okay, and that's about 1.5 pounds. Okay, I'm going to get my mushrooms in here and start getting these working. Okay, I'm going to put 2 in here. Now, that's why I said the recipe is for basically like 6 to 8 people. 6 to 8 hearty Italian people, okay? So I'm going to get those mixed up in there. And let those start to brown. So I want to get this spread out a little bit. And this is about 1.5 pounds in here. So you can see it's a lot. It's a lot of pasta. So you guys, I hope you're hungry. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to get this going, get this in the oven. I'm going to make the mini vegetable wraps. You guys will eat those first. Okay? While this is browning in the oven, I'll make the salad. Okay? By the time we finish doing that, then you'll have your salad, then you'll have the entree, and then we'll have dessert. Okay? So you'll have a little bit of a break in between. Okay? Okay, if you can see up there that they're starting to get a little bit of color on them. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. And just to show you what I did with the chicken, this is about 1.5 pounds of chicken breasts. Okay, what you can do, you can get chicken breasts, cook them, just chop them up, and I usually do that when it's on sale, like right now. I don't know if I could, at Wegmans or at Tops, $1.99 a pound, okay? Or you can get it cheaper at Farm Fresh, But yeah. So what I do is I go buy it, I clean them all up, I put them in packages of like 2 or 3, and put them in my freezer in a little baggie. Or I'll cook it and then cube it and do this, because you could use this in salads, you could use this in casseroles, however you want to do it. You make chicken salad, however you want to do that. So you always have it handy. Just cook it, stick it in your freezer. So it's about 1.5 pounds, and I just cubed it. Or if you don't want to go through all this trouble and you're in a hurry, just go buy a rotisserie chicken for $4, $4.99, and just pick it all apart and shred all the chicken and throw it in there. Okay? And you really don't have to use, if you don't want to use fettuccine noodles, if you want to use like a mini ziti or a rigatoni or any kind of pasta you want. Okay? If you wanted to make this all without the chicken, what you do is add more vegetables. Okay, as you're doing this part right here with the mushrooms, what you can do is throw in some cauliflower, broccoli, some onions, celery, whatever kind of vegetables you want. At the end, you could throw in some frozen peas, and it becomes it's like primavera, fettuccine primavera, instead of with the chicken. Okay, in my house, we don't eat a whole lot of meat, so we either use chicken, fish, or it's vegetarian. So, and not that we, not real crazy about red meat, but the only kind of red meat I like is filet mignon. So how often can you have that? So, but okay, so we got that going. That looks pretty good. So if you look at your recipe now, once you get those a little bit browned, what we're going to add to this is I'm going to use 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. And your recipe says 1. Remember, I'm doubling it. So I'm going to add some cream of mushroom soup. And if you're gonna make a casserole, don't spend all the money to buy a big name brand. Okay? these were like 10 for 10. You know, so get a couple, throw them in there. I mean, if you're going to make soup and you're going to eat it as soup, then you may want to think about it. But just, you know, not that I'm cheap, but, you know, you save a little money. Okay, so we throw that in. And this is what's going to give it a nice little consistency so it doesn't dry out. Okay? So we got that in there. And let me give that a stir. I am not going to add any salt or pepper at this point because I just want to get all the flavors in there before we start tasting it. I also have cream cheese, which is one of the cheeses that's going to go in there. Okay, just leave it out a little bit so it softens up a little. I picked this up by mistake. Usually I don't use any of that fat-free stuff or reduce fat or just eat less of it, you know, and enjoy it. So I'm going to put 2 of these in. These are also on sale. Did you know you could freeze these? If you buy cream cheese, you could, you know, when it's on sale, you could freeze it. You know, and it works just as well. So, okay, let me pop this one in. Okay, got that in. And I'm going to get that mushed around a little bit. And I'm going to add some cream. And I'm using regular old heavy fat cream. So, so I'm going to put some of that in. Okay, I'm going to add milk. This is regular whole milk. You can use, you know, if you want to use all that slim, skinny stuff, you can go ahead. Okay, what we want to do is make sure that this is all blended. I know in your recipe, if you're making a little bit of this, like for, you know, 6 people or so, it says at the end to put, you know, put the chicken in right in here. But I'm just going to mix it all in this pot here. Okay, I'm going to add. I have to have red pepper flakes in whatever I cook. You know, it's just part. I think it's in Italian people's genes. You know, so you just got to have that little kick. So I'm just going to add a little bit. You know, people always tease me. I was teaching this class a couple of months ago, and I always take the top off this thing because when I cook, I put it in my hand and throw it in. Well, the top was not. Were you here for that class? Oh God, jeez. And I was making soup. Well, people had curly hair by the time they left there. So, okay, I put a little bit of garlic powder in there. Okay, let me get that stirred in. And if you can see up there, just a little bit more on the cream cheese. It's already getting a nice creamy consistency. Okay. We might have to add a little more milk at the end, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I have that in, that in. Okay, move this out of the way. The cheeses I'm going to use are, I have shredded Swiss cheese. Okay, just regular old cheese. You could buy it already shredded if you want. And shredded mozzarella cheese. And grated Parmesan cheese. Okay, the other thing I'm going to add is some brandy. Okay, if you don't want to use the brandy, you don't have to put it in. It's just, to me, it just gives you that little kick in the back of your throat when you eat it, you know. So, or you could just tell your significant other that you need a bottle of brandy to make this dish and then just drink it. Or drink it while you're making it. Well, that happens a lot too. Mostly white wine. Okay, this looks kind of loose now, but once we add all these cheeses in here, it's going to thicken up. So that's going pretty well. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt a couple of tablespoons of butter because we're going to make a topping for this with breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, and butter. And we're going to sprinkle that over the top so when it goes under the broiler part, then it's going to get a nice little crispy crust on top. Okay? Before I die, I'm going to buy the school a new microwave. That thing is from the, I don't know when. No, I'm not going to measure. I was going to get a measuring cup, but okay. So this is coming up to a nice little simmer. I'm going to throw in some Parmesan cheese and probably about a cup or two. I like Parmesan cheese. Okay, I'm going to put in the Swiss cheese. This is all stuff, you know, if you do a little bit of preparation, by the time you go to make this meal, it doesn't really take a whole lot of time. You know, and it's all one pot meal. Okay, mozzarella cheese. I don't know if I'll put all of this in, but we'll see. Usually when I make this at home, it'll be a combination of vegetables and whatever's left in the refrigerator. So you can kind of just throw it all in. Okay, I think I'm going to save a little bit of this. I think I might sprinkle some of this on top. Okay. So get that going. And the reason I didn't add any salt and pepper to this before was because the cheese is, you know, the Parmesan cheese is a little salty. So I wanted to make sure that it wasn't real salty. And the only way you can find out if that's the case is to taste it. So because you're sitting in the front row, you get to taste it and let me know if it needs anything. Just grab a big spoonful. Look at that little thing. You can't even taste it. What do you think? A little salt. All right. Now remember on top, we're going to put, I'll put a little, but remember on top, we're going to put the breadcrumbs that are seasoned and the whole thing on top. Now again, what I have in this jar is salt and pepper. Okay, it's 50% salt, 50% pepper, because every time you look at a recipe, it says add salt and pepper. Okay, so why bother having two things? Just throw it together. Okay. Okay, so we got that going. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn off the heat because got that going. I'm going to add the brandy. And just be careful if you're using any kind of alcohol, whatever, that, especially if you have a gas stove. Make sure that you're careful with that because it'll ignite. Okay, I know it says like a tablespoon or something, but they tell me it cooks off. Yeah, okay. If you wanted to also, usually if I make a white sauce, you put a little bit of nutmeg. You know, if you have a little bit of fresh nutmeg and you wanted to put that in there, you can do that. The other thing you could add to this, which would make it really nice, is some spinach. Just take some frozen spinach that's chopped and mix it in with this, and it would give it a nice little color to it. Okay, so we have that going. Okay, so basically this is done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this on top. Okay, it looks like a lot of sauce, but what's going to happen is the pasta is going to absorb that. So, set away. So we can get the rest of me on camera. Okay. My daughter, one of my daughters works in Hollywood, so she's. She works for ABC Studios, so she's working on Grey's Anatomy right now. So she said, "Dad, you know when they do that, it puts 20 pounds on you, you know." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, I told him to only film me from here up." So that's all. Okay, so we got that. Now you see how that absorbs all that, and it's really not as loose as we thought it was going to be. Okay. You just want to make sure you mix it so you get all of the chicken and everything dispersed. And what I'm going to put a little bit of, let's use the cream. I'm going to put a little bit, I'm just going to put a little bit on top just to coat the top a little bit. Okay, because I'm going to add breadcrumbs on top of this, okay? Just a little splash, okay? Okay, add melted butter. And these are regular seasoned breadcrumbs. Okay. And let me find a bowl. Okay. Mix those. Put that in. And just give it a little toss, just to get them coated. Okay, I'm going to pop a little bit of the cheese in there. If you didn't want to use butter in this, you could just use olive oil altogether. Just use the whole thing with olive oil. Okay. Get that in there. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on top. You can make this ahead and put it in your refrigerator, and then take it out when you're ready to bake it. Let it come to room temperature a little bit, and then pop it in your oven. I would wait to put the breadcrumbs on when you're ready to put it in the oven. Otherwise, they'll get all soggy. Okay, so we got that going. Give my hands a quick wash. There's a towel here. I'm not wiping it on my shirt. Okay. my wife's going, what are you doing? Okay, so with that going, I'm going to put a piece of foil on top just for the first 15 minutes or so. I have the oven preheated. Okay. That's in. That's done. Okay. Clean up a little bit. You always have to clean. I'm real anal about cleaning, so just relax. I'm not one of those people who just throws stuff all over. I can't do that. Okay, we're going to start working on the vegetable wraps. And again, I changed this a little bit to save you a little bit of money and a little bit of time. I'm going to use these little regular flour wrap things. I have some soft cream cheese that we're going to use. And I take my bowl, and let's see. This is basically, everything goes in one bowl because you're going to make a filling. We're going to put it in the wraps. If you wanted to dress this up a little bit, you could add to this, you could add some chopped chicken to this if you wanted to make it into a regular full sandwich. You could add some chopped shrimp, or if you always have lobster hanging around your house, you could throw in basically whatever you want. If you had some real thin slices of steak, you could throw that in and make it a meat kind of thing. Okay, so a lot of things you can do with these. Just use your imagination. So, I had everything. I always have to check because I'm always putting the wrong one on, and things are catching on fire when I cook. So instead of using shredded cabbage and spending the time going through all that, I'm just going to use coleslaw mix. Okay. It's got cabbage and carrots and everything already in there. So we're just going to throw that all in there. And I have a red onion. I cry like you. If you were here last week, I cried for about 5 minutes on tape. Okay, when I had to slice this onion. So I went home. I chopped it. I cried at home. And I'm throwing it in here. Okay, so it's a red onion that's chopped up. And I don't know what it is about red onions, but I just can't do it. Okay, Also, I have some bean sprouts, and these are, crunchy bean sprouts that you buy where the vegetables are. Throw that in. These are crunchy ones. These are not like the regular little white bean sprouts that you usually see. So these are crunchy ones. They're actually sprouts of lentils. Okay, and I kind of like the flavor for them. Okay, got those in. And I have some tomatoes. And what you want to do with the tomato is I'm going to cut it around the outside. Okay, if you can follow what I'm doing. Because then you get what you have left are all the seeds. Okay, and we don't want it to be real gushy. Okay, and then I'm just going to chop it up. And you want all the pieces to be fairly small because we're going to wrap this. You can use whatever kind of tomatoes you like. If you like plum tomatoes, or which are my favorite, to use those, because they're hardy and they hold up when you cook them. But you could really buy whatever's on sale. If you had little cherry tomatoes, just be careful when you're chopping. If you'll notice that when you're chopping, hold the knife a little bit of angle, and your fingers like this, not like this. So you go like this. Okay. And throw that in. Okay. I'm going to put in one more tomato. I don't want to put that bowl in front of you, but you already saw what I did already, so just cutting a tomato, okay? Still cutting a tomato. And we're not going to really put dressing on this, but if you wanted to, what you can do is add, a little bit of Italian dressing or a little bit of ranch dressing, depending on what your tastes are. All we're going to add to this right now is just a little bit of hot sauce, just to give it a little bit of kick. Okay, so we got all of that in there. Did I get everything in there? Oh, the little lettuce, okay. Okay, I'm going to use just romaine. And I'm going to take the hearty part of it, so I'm not going to really use the big tough part, the soft part on top. I like the crunchy part. So, and we're going to slice it real thin. Okay. So in order to do that, I'm going to start at the bottom. Okay, cut off that part. And just get real thin slices. If you wanted to, what you can do is I'll show you how to layer that when we make the wraps. When we put the cream cheese on the wrap, put the whole romaine lettuce leaf on that, and then put the filling on top of it, and then roll it. So if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way. I know, people are starving over in Ethiopia. I know, yeah, but okay. Okay, so people are always yelling at me when I do that, No one ever writes into the food channel when they do that. Why are they always telling me? Okay, so we got that going. That out of the way. And I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. That going, that out of the way. And this is just a regular hot sauce, okay? Just because I know you're getting tired, so we want to wake you up. So this will perk you up. A couple of dashes, like Paula Deen. And remember, that's all we have. If you wanted to, at this point, we could add a little bit of cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar. If you wanted to, you could do that. I'm going to add some Gorgonzola cheese, okay? Or you can use blue cheese, whichever you like. I like Gorgonzola better, so we're going to, what the hell. So, got that in. And some black beans, okay? I like black beans. I use them a lot. I make black bean burgers, and You can use them in so many things, soups, and just regular little black beans, and just throw them in. Okay, and that's our filling. So what we're going to do is get that all mixed up, like this. You know, you do what you got to do. Okay, this looks great. I would eat this just like this. Okay. What you can do, you can make this way ahead of time. Let it sit in your refrigerator. Cover it with saran wrap. Let it sit in your refrigerator until you're ready to make the wraps. Okay, so you go from there. Okay, hands a little wash. Okay, what we're going to do now is start layering. Move this out of the way. We're going to take these wraps, and we're going to put a little layer of cream cheese on here. If you wanted to use the cream cheese that's flavored, like get the kind that has like garlic and chives in it, you know, that would be nice too. What I like to do is I like to cut the edges off, okay, because who wants to eat that little piece on the end that doesn't have anything in it? You know, you go to a party and you get the one that's on the end. Who wants that? So just cut them off, and then when you roll it, you could save these and make pita chips, or you could throw them away. Okay, so we got that. So just line them up. Guess we'll have to do 2 at a time. Just take a little bit of soft cream cheese. And go buy the kind that's whipped or soft already. Don't try to get the block and melt it. And it's just easier to use this. And this kind of acts like a little bit of a glue. And if you're going to make these for a cocktail party, you know, you could cut them into thirds or fourths or however big, and stick a little toothpick in it. Okay. So we'll go from there. Okay. Let's see if I can get 3 at a time up here. And this is something you could make, like if you're doing a party at your house, especially if it's a cocktail party and people had a couple glasses of wine already, you know, and there's invariably always someone who comes in the kitchen and says, "Can I help?" You know, well, yeah, you can do this. Okay? So I don't like people in my kitchen. I'm sorry, but that's the way I am. So, yeah, okay, yeah, you can do this. Get the hell out of here. You know, but, so that's just the way I am. But, I said, when I come to your house to eat, I don't expect to do anything. So don't come in my kitchen. Okay? Okay, so we take the filling. We're just going to pop some of that on there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in half, okay? And then we'll just start eating that way. We have plenty of filling, so don't be stingy with the filling. Okay, kind of bring it up to the edge. Okay, then just take it, pull it like this. Just roll it. And there, you're all set. Okay? Just stick your fingers in there and squash it in. And let's see, let me get some plates. I could smell that fettuccine in the oven. It smells delicious. Okay, I'm going to, you know, if you want to be fancy, you can cut them at an angle or however you want to do that. So, just try to get them fairly tight and put them, you know, seam side down. Okay. Okay. Those going. Let me get some more here. This part's fairly easy, so, and tedious. You're just sitting here watching me do this, but okay, Okay, a little more cream cheese. And again, what you can do is make these ahead of time. I wouldn't make them more than 2 hours ahead. You know, you can make them 2 hours ahead. If you want to put them on a tray, and in order to keep them moist, you know how you make these ahead and the outer part dries. If you've ever done that, it gets hard. When you have them on the tray, take a damp towel or a damp paper towel and put it over the top, and then cover it with Saran wrap. Okay, that's what they do when you do catering. That's what they do, and it keeps them moist. That works especially well when you buy the little, those little cocktail breads, those little things. And you know when you go to a party, and after about an hour, all the bread's curled up, and it looks like, I'm going to have 28 of these left, So if you do that, if you make them ahead and put a damp towel on them and cover them with Saran wrap, there'll be enough moisture in there for them to sit out. Okay, so and they won't. You'll find that they won't curl up. So I hate when you go to a party and you see those poor little sandwiches. You know that somebody worked real hard to make those, and that poor little egg salad and tuna salad is going, please eat me. But okay. You guys want two? Want two? I'll put two on each plate. And you can... Okay, so I'm going to get these out, and then you're going to have to start coming up here and getting these. So. What was that? There you go. There's the first round. Let me get the other ones going. And Vanna White will serve you. She's doing a nice job. Thank you. I told you to sit in the front, but no, you want to sit all the way in the back, so you're going to get to eat last. Okay, just keep this going. And again, if you have stuff like this left over, you could save this. You know what you could mix this with that would be really delicious is some cooked barley or some rice. Just throw it in here and mix it, and you have a nice little salad. Okay? A couple more plates up here. You better feed that crowd. They're turning ugly in the back here. This is ready here.
Oh, they're too blonde.
Okay. Gotta get some more shells out. How are they? Okay, good. Now remember, it's just a basic kind of recipe, so you could add kind of whatever you want to it. You don't have to share. This isn't a Weight Watchers meeting. Just eat it up. I know when we get to the ice cream, nobody's going to be sharing that. So nobody shares desserts. You can see if you had a little flavored kind of cream cheese in there, that would perk it up a little bit. Okay, here's a few more. Okay, there's a couple more up here. Tell me when to stop. I'm on a roll. Okay, here you go. Who doesn't have any yet? Let's go. Gentleman in the back. Going once, twice. There you go. Keep them going. Should I make a couple more? Chuck, you didn't get any, did you? Okay. Remember, this is just the appetizer. You still got to eat. Wouldn't it be a good lunch if you threw some rice or some chicken or shrimp or whatever? And real easy. Everything's in one bowl. You could make it ahead. You could make it as fancy or as plain as you want, depending on how well you like the people who are coming to eat, you know. And again, if you made them a lot smaller, here we got two more here. How many more we need? What do we need? Anybody need any? Guy in the back. Chuck needs some. Cameraman, don't forget him. Okay, should I keep going? Or are we full? We're good? Okay. Now you can see what we have left from that. Okay, so there's plenty. There's a lot. This makes an awful lot. So just so you have an idea of how much it makes.
Will that keep in your refrigerator?
Yes, this will keep in your refrigerator because what's going to happen, the cabbage is just going to absorb the liquid, that's all. So, you know, it won't be like coleslaw because remember we did not add, all we added was that hot sauce. Okay, you may, if you wanted to add salad dressing, if you wanted to add like a ranch dressing or whatever, make sure you don't add a whole lot because remember the cabbage as it sits in your refrigerator, it exudes the liquid. So you want to be careful with that. Just add a couple of tablespoons just to give it some flavor, okay? So that's good. So somebody's going to take that home tonight. So and then you can do with it as you want. Okay? Let me check our fettuccine. Yes, when you come here, no food stays here. Everything goes home with you. Okay? You pay your materials fee, it's your food. I'm going to take the top off. Okay, let that go a little bit. And get this cleaned up a little. And I'm going to make the salad next. Okay, let me get cleaned up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to make the salad, which is a spinach and apple salad. And I'm going to use some Granny Smith's apples. This has some odd combinations in it because the basis for the dressing is maple syrup. Okay, I know it sounds maple syrup and olive oil sounds kind of odd, but when you try it, I think you're going to like it. So I'm going to use baby spinach, and I like the spinach that comes in these containers. It keeps a lot better. We'll see. I asked at Wegmans, I said, how come, I shouldn't say that, or Tops. How come when you buy this, it says there are only 3 servings in here? It says 3.5 servings. He said, well, that's when it's cooked. Okay, because you know if you cook it, you'll get like this much. So I said, oh, okay, so I'm going to use it for a salad. You know, and he goes, oh, you'll get way more than that. So what we're going to do is put these in here. And you guys look hungry, so I'm gonna fill that up. Well, there you go. That should be enough. Okay. Okay, so that's about that. And to this, I'm going to add some apples. Okay. And I'm just going to dice them up. And you don't want really big chunks. And it's going to be a nice combination of with apples with the maple syrup, you know, because you got a little bit of tartness, and it's going to have cheese in it and some walnuts, and it's actually a very healthy salad. So, if you didn't want to use spinach, you could use like field greens or whatever, you know, whatever makes you feel good. Just throw it in there. I like spinach, so I don't like the field greens. It's like eating stuff I pick in my yard. It's like weeds, So my wife, she says, "Not weeds." I said, "Yes, it is." Especially that frisee, that little curly stuff. I just can't. I can't do it. It's just something about that texture that's just not. Okay. Well, I think we made it. Probably 2 apples would have been plenty, but if you're doing this ahead of time, I could tell you a trick. You okay? This is done. Let me take this out. Can you smell it? There. Yeah, so we got that done. Our salad's going to be done, so you guys will be eating shortly. Okay. I think I got enough apple in there, so we'll put this over here. I'm going to add, I know it says use cubed cheese on there, but if you want to just speed it up, just, use shredded cheese that you already have, cheddar cheese. Two cups. Yeah. And then I have some walnuts, okay? And keep them in a bag. And make sure if you have nuts have a lot of oil in them, so keep them in your refrigerator or in your freezer. You get a much longer shelf life out of them. Okay. So these are halved walnuts. I need to make them a little bit smaller. So don't do this at home. You can take a can or a rolling pin. Just give them a whack, because you don't really want just a great big chunk, okay? There we go. This looks good. Okay, that's it. Now we got to make the dressing. This is maple syrup. Make sure it's not brandy. Okay. And I'm just going to add a pinch of salt and pepper in here, just a little bit. I know it's when you watch all these shows on TV and they put everything in a thing and whisk, 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 whisk. Forget it. Put it all in the jar and shake, 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 and you're done. Okay? So I'm going to add some olive oil to this. And usually, for this I'm going to do like a half and half. Okay? Usually it's like 1/3, 2/3. Okay? But I'm going to taste it at the end and find out. Okay, a little bit of that. And then for a little bit of acid, we're going to add apple cider vinegar. If you wanted to, you could put lemon juice in here. Just a little bit of that. Just give it a little bit of acidity, and we're going to taste it. Okay, so now I'm going to whisk it. Okay, now we got to taste it. You're not diabetic, are you? Okay. The phone's right there. A little bit? A little more acid or? Tiny bit? Sometimes the maple syrup, depending on what kind you buy, is sugary. So you might want to add a little more acid to it. So we'll just... Because you want it to taste salady and not like candy. Okay. Okay. Smells good. Press that. Okay. Salad's ready. Pasta's ready. Let me find something to toss this. Your salad forks. Just want to make sure everything gets nice and coated. If you wanted to make this ahead, if you wanted to make any kind of salad ahead, okay, and you're going to have a party and you want to serve a big salad, what you can do is take your dressing, put it in the bottom of the bowl first, okay, then put your greens on top, and like all your onions and vegetables and whatever you have. Leave it in your refrigerator. It'll stay there for about 4 or 5 hours, okay, and then just before you're ready to serve it, then you toss it, okay. So that's what they do when you do catering, they do that kind of stuff. And just let it sit there, because the dressing will not, it's not going to rise. If you put it on top, it's going to sink down and everything's going to wilt. So it'll just stay on the bottom until you're ready to toss it. So save yourself a little bit of time, okay? Because when you give a party, unless you want to hire me to come and cook for you, and then you can enjoy all your guests. But, I'm not saying don't do that. But I'm just saying it'll give you more time to sit and mingle with your people, okay? And my whole philosophy is, you have a meal, and the meal is there for you to enjoy with other people, not to make it, and people just compliment you and say, ooh, that was good, but, I think the whole meal is about conversation. So, okay, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to put that over there, and then you're going to have to get up and serve yourself. Okay, no more waitressing. Well, if she, you're going to have to tip her. So that's what we'll do, and then we'll take a break, and I'll get it cleaned up, and then we're going to be on to dessert. So if you look at the time, we actually started at about 20 of, so it's less than an hour, and everything's done except dessert. So there's no reason that you can't make this meal at home and get going really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to move this all over, and you guys are going to have to get up and eat. Let's have some salad and some pasta. The dessert we're going to make is peanut butter sundae cups, which is basically ice cream with all kinds of filling in it. What I have in this pot over here is I made a peanut butter topping. Okay, instead of going to the store and buying topping, whatever, the peanut butter topping is particularly expensive. So all that it is you take a little bit of butter, a cup of peanut butter, or depending on how much you want to make, and just regular corn syrup. Okay, light corn syrup. You just mix it all together, and you get a nice peanut butter sauce. Okay, and that's what we're going to use. So while you were eating, that's what I put together up here, and that's the only thing that you have to cook for this piece of the dessert. Okay, I told you I'm not a baker. I'm not into all that stuff. So, and then I'm going to show you how to get this party going really quickly. When you have this many people, okay, yeah. This is actually rum. No, it's chocolate, just chocolate syrup. It's going to have chocolate syrup, peanuts, mini chocolate chips, some topping. If you buy this kind of topping and you want it to fluff it up so people don't think it's like store-bought, you could put in some kind of flavoring. Put in a teaspoon of vanilla, mix it up. Put in a teaspoon of lemon extract, or take lemon zest and put that in there, a little bit of lemon juice, and stir it all up. Just put some kind of flavoring in there, and then people go, wow, you can't buy this. So just to perk them up a little bit. But when you have a lot of people that you have to prepare a dessert for and you want to serve ice cream, the easiest thing to do is to portion it out before. So what I did before you came is to portion out all of our ice cream in little cups and stick them in a freezer. Okay, and that saves you an awful lot of time. Especially when we have 17 people that we're trying to feed here. So we got that. You make like a little assembly line. And again, if you have somebody who's a pest in your kitchen, get them out there and say, okay, Here, you can do this. I don't want you touching the dishwasher. I don't want you touching anything else, but you could do this. Okay, so we got this going. And for this dessert, we're actually going to need 2 scoops of ice cream. Okay, one on the bottom. I'm going to put some toppings on it. So what I did is made little scoops of ice cream. So what you do is take your scoop, put it on a tray with wax paper or the non-stick aluminum foil. Okay, make sure you get the right side. I never figure out which side that's sticky on, you know. And my son said to me, he says, "Dad, it says on here, this is the non-stick side." Okay, so figured that after a while. It was like when we put the Christmas lights up, I had timers on each of the windows. Well, they were going on during the day and off, you know. My wife says, "Don't you realize that the green button means go on and the red one means go off?" I said, "Okay." So we had to go reset all the buttons. So what I did is I put those in there because we're going to put some toppings on it. Then we're going to put another scoop of ice cream on top. So you have it all set, okay? That's like in a restaurant. When you do catering, you're in a restaurant and you get those little glasses of sherbet. Okay, you're not that special that they did it just for you. Okay? They have 84 of them in the freezer. They throw it in a little bowl. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start an assembly line. Okay? So what I'm going to put a little bit of peanut butter sauce in each of these cups. Let's see if I could do this without spilling it all over.
Put it on the ice cream hot then? Is it hot normally?
Yeah, it's warm. You know, it's warm. Because remember, when you put this ice cream in the freezer, it's going to get fairly hard. Okay, so the peanut butter, you know, will soften it up a little bit because you want to eat it right away. You don't want to. Okay, a little bit of that. And this was probably what I made here, probably about a cup and a half of peanut butter. So you know, it makes a lot of topping. If you wanted to be real fancy about it, you could put it in a bag, and then you know, a plastic bag, and then use it like a pastry bag, and then just go around and squeeze it in there. Okay. But I'm not that fancy. So.
Can you store any of that that's left over? Can you store that?
Yes, you store it in your refrigerator. Yeah, it'll, you know, it'll keep just like peanut butter. You know. Okay, I'm going to move this around so I use it all. There you go. It's going to taste like a nice little Reese's cup. Okay, so we got that. Then I'm going to add some chocolate chips. Oh, I forgot one. Oh. It's yours, Chuck. Did I miss any more? Okay. It's like my wife said. She said, if you stop talking, you could do that meal in 25 minutes. So, okay, I'm going to put, these are mini chocolate chips. Throw some of those in there. And these are the mini ones. If you don't have the mini ones, that's fine. You could just. You got to watch me. Make sure I get them all.
Oh, don't worry.
Because if you don't, I know everybody always watches the dessert. They don't care about the main meal. Well, this one's kind of Weight Watcher-ish. Put some in there. Okay, we got that in there. Then I have some chopped peanuts. Okay, these are just regular dry roasted peanuts. We're going to throw those in. And, you know, you could throw it whatever order you want. You don't have to follow the order that's on there. Okay, is anybody allergic to peanuts? Too bad. Well, just watch you swell up. When do I we invited you to the party? You wanted? Okay, so we got that going. I have a little bit of chocolate sauce. And if you want it to be fancy, you could put this on the top instead of in the middle. Okay. And this is just regular chocolate sauce. You can get that hot fudge sauce that, you know, the peanut butter is warm, so we really don't need that. Okay. Give that a swirl. You put in here whatever you want. Okay. Then we're going to plop in the other piece of ice cream. Okay. They'll just come right out. This is where you get those people you don't like who bother you in the kitchen doing all this. You know, ew, it's cold. You know, just shut up and put it on there. Whoops. Almost missed that one. You were eyeing that one too, I saw you. Okay, I have 2 extra ones, so because our waitress did such a nice job, that's yours. You get the extra one, okay. So we're all set with that. Basically that's done. I'm going to put some topping on it. And what I'm going to use the Cool Whip. If you wanted to use regular, whipped cream, you could use that. Someone want to get the spoons? The spoons are over by the food there. Thank you. Okay. So basically we had 16 or 17 of these made in a very short time. So you can see a little bit of preparation, having all of that in there. The ice cream frozen a little bit. You can do the same thing with sherbet. That ice cream, freezing those little individual things saves you a lot of time when you're doing a party. And of course we have to have a cherry. Make it look pretty. Eat with your eyes first. That's why I don't eat seafood. It does not look appealing to me. Especially when they put that whole lobster in front of you. Forget that thing. That thing is ugly. And I grew up by the water. I grew up by the ocean, and my family are big seafood eaters. But, you put that whole crab in front of me, that's ugly. I'm sorry. Okay, I have a couple extra cherries left, so we're throwing them in here. That's yours. That's our waitresses right there. There you go. Okay, time to eat. Here you go. Dessert's all done. It's just about 8 o'clock, so we're all set. I want to thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the dessert.
Thank you.
Well, that was our cooking plan for today. I hope those of you in class enjoyed eating the meal prepared, learned a few new cooking shortcuts, and will try these recipes at home. To those of you watching at home, I'd like to thank you for being with us and encourage you to join us in class. And remember, from my family to yours, always make time for family and friends by sharing a great meal around your kitchen table.